being normal quickly. Well, there's something wrong with it, right? So what answers other than that? There's a high resistance in their lungs on expiration. The emphysemic person will have high resistance on expiration because their bronchioles are collapsing on expiration. Okay? Everybody got that? What else might be a problem? Some sort of obstruction. They got a tumor somewhere here that's pushing against the trachea or some bronchi or something like that. Right? Anything else would be a problem. But they cannot get air out of their lungs. What is happening to their lungs in general? They're deteriorating. All right. Why do their lungs, what is a major factor in bringing their lungs back? Well, in this case, I'm compressing the abdominal cavity, the thoracic cavity. That's one factor. But there are two other factors about the lungs that help bring it back. The elasticity of their lungs and the surface tension of their lungs. So if their lungs are, in a sense, deteriorating, the surface area, the surface tension is going down, they might actually be losing alveolar tissue, which means they're going to have less surface area, less surface tension. The elasticity of their lungs is decreasing because the total tissue of their lungs is decreasing. So when I have this expiration, there are three things causing behind this expiration. One is squeezing the ribs. Another could be squeezing the abdominal cavity. Let's put those two together. Another is what? Surface tension in the lungs and elasticity of the lungs. Those three things, right? Now that's assuming that the airway is open. If the airway is not open, even if those things are normal, I'm going to have a lower FEV. But if any one of those things is reduced, then I'm going to have a lower FEV. Everybody follow what we're doing here?
No.
Does that answer?
No, because I'm just confused because during lab you told me that when we did our first results and we got an 84% that person was emphysemic. So when we did it a second time and we got 54%, you said, oh, that person's really healthy. So now I'm feeling confused.
Either I said it
But then we
wrong,
got it right.
either I said it wrong or you misunderstood it. But
Okay.
let's clear it up right now. 75% is about the cutoff. Some books even say 80. And less than that, there's something wrong with the person's lungs. What could it be? It could be several things, like we just went over. But let's use 75 as a cutoff for the test.
What were the three things? Surface tension, elasticity, and what was the third thing?
Squeezing ribs and abdominal
Decrease of
cavity.
the thoracic cavity. When this person is having an expiration, they are compressing the thoracic cavity. They're trying to force expiration. Now, if their lungs are normal, then this percent, and no blockage, then this percent should be what? This percent should be up in the 90s. Now, what could be wrong? They have low surface tension. Surface tension is one of the factors bringing these lungs back. Elasticity, another factor bringing them back. You know from lecture, etc., mine or Margaret's, etc., the forces involved in a forced expiration, the cause of forced expiration. Well, if any of those more, one or two or more, is a problem, bringing it back, then you're going to have a low FEV. Now, with the, suppose it was like this. And the FE was done like that. FEV now is going to be very high. Let's make this, let's just make it 27. All right, it's 90%. FEV now is 90%. 27 over 30, 90%. All right, that person's okay. Those of you had like this, that person's not okay. That's 100%. 100% of their vital capacity is coming out in 1 second. Too fast. Too fast. What's causing that? What can cause that? Well, we know the factors involved in the forced expiration, right? So something is too high. What could be too high? What could be too low to cause the low FEV? Well, what? What were the low things that could cause a low FEV? Surface tension, elasticity, right? Blockage of the bronchiole. Well, what could cause it to be too high? In other words, it's coming back too quickly. Lungs are coming back too quickly. The elasticity is too high. That's pulmonary fibrosis. The lungs get so fibrous that they can hardly inhale any air because they can't stretch them. The surface tension is too high. That's a possibility. Surface tension is one of the things helping to bring it back. What could cause a high surface tension? Okay, this is high surface tension. There's too much what in their lungs? There's too much fluid in their lungs. Not enough what? It could be that they don't have enough surfactant. That's a possibility. How else might excess fluid get in their lungs?
Drowning.
They might have a left side heart problem, which causes a high pressure in their pulmonary veins, which causes fluid to move, more fluid to move into their lungs. They might have, ultimately, they might have too high an arterial pressure in their body, which is not enough blood is leaving their left ventricle, which means the pressure in the pulmonary veins is going to be too high and more fluid. So excess fluid in their lungs. We're not really asking for an explanation. Everybody got the idea? It's too fibrous, or there is too much fluid. This now is a more definitive test than the lung capacity. Lung capacity is the same. Well, there's something wrong. So we'll try to figure out what is wrong. Okay, suppose I have a very high elasticity and or surface tension in my lungs. What is going to change about the lung capacities? Is the IRB going to go up or down or stay the same? It's going to go down. If I have too much fluid, I have a high surface tension. That means I can't stretch my lungs as much, right? Well, that's what inhalation is all about. Okay, so I would have a low what? I would have a low IRB, I would have a low tidal volume, right? Would I have a higher than normal ERB? Think about that for a second. This person cannot get much air in their lungs, the tidal volume, if IRB is reduced, or ERB is reduced, what would happen to their ERB? The IRB is reduced. What would happen to their ERB? It will go down. Why? It's that simple. The ERV would go down because they're not breathing much air into their lungs to begin with. So how can they expel much on forced expiration? That makes sense. So I do the volume thing first, then I go to the FEV and say, oh, of course, that's why those volumes are reduced, because this person has tremendously high FEV. Okay, so I'm not making up oddball questions for the test. They will be the questions, types of questions we've been going over, or variations of those questions. All right? I had a student a couple of semesters ago did well on the exercises, turned them in, etc., answered questions in the lab, and then on the test did quite poorly. And then on the second test, quite poorly. And I finally said, you do all this other stuff and you're getting good things on your exercises and all that, and you know what, we went over what's going to be on the test. And she said, yeah, but I didn't believe you. Okay. There were some other questions here. What was the person, how it was calculated? We did that. Clinical values. Well, we've been over some clinical values, helping to diagnose what might be wrong with the person. Well, as soon as you did something like this, right? That's a big clue as what might be wrong with it. Surface tension, elasticity, something's blocking the airways, etc. Not an absolute, but it might be one of those, or it might be a combination of those things. All right, any other questions on this exercise? Very simple, easy to do, but it can be very, very, very helpful in figuring out what's wrong with the person. Okay. All set on those. Breathing sound. Just get rid of this pretty fast. Give me some respiratory disorders. Abnormal breathing sounds are characteristic. Pneumonia. What else? A chest cold. Right? Normal breathing sounds are very, very quiet. That's why a doctor uses a stethoscope, so he or she can hear them. Right? Well, suppose you have very, very faint, abnormally faint breathing sounds. What could cause that? Well, it could be this person is very overweight and it's almost impossible to hear the breathing sound. What else? There could be an obstruction, right? The asthmatic, you can hear them without a stethoscope, right? Why? What's changing in their lungs? What? The asthmatic, when they're having the attack. The bronchioles are constricting. It all has to come back to one or two or three things. Gasping type sounds. Might be, you might hear those. You might hear things like rattling sounds, like a tin can dragged down the floor. That can't be good. Okay? That could be partially obstruction, deteriorating in the lungs, so forth and so on. Could it be something other than that, within the lungs? Yes. Maybe the person has such a low vital TB. That could go back to what? Emphysema. Okay. And then the last one, chest dimension. Chest dimension. Your chest dimension should change as you breathe.